Good morning guys and welcome back to my channel. My name is Lucia and this is Lulu's Leaves.
I'm no good at being good, but I never said I was. And I feel misunderstood cause I'm trying hard to love.
In today's video we are going to be doing a vlog. I have some stuff that I need to do for my animals, and then I also have some planty stuff that I gotta get done. I wanna show you guys how I am acclimating those new plants that came in from Botanicas. I'm really excited to show you guys that because they're doing pretty well, but there's definitely some stuff that I need to cover. So yeah, if you're interested in that, definitely continue watching this video all the way through to the end. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy it and subscribe down below. But let's just get straight on into the video. So first, I just need to get rid of some of this old fruit and vegetables that are in my cricket enclosure. It's important that they have fresh fruits and vegetables for gut loading. I personally use the orange cube cricket diet and then also a mixture of fruits and veggies. I have some apples, some carrots, and cucumbers cut up. Every day I have to refill their water because it gets dirty like that and they can get bacterial infections if you don't clean up. So I'm just gonna take this out, dump it, scrub it a bit, and then we will refill it with some spring water. I would also like to clean the glass of the terrarium today, but I don't exactly know where I'm going to put them if I do. So I'll have to figure out a tub first that I can transfer them over to while I do a little vinegar and water scrub. I also just recently DIY'd this. This is obviously like a plastic little shelf that I got on Amazon, and when I say little, I don't really mean little. It fills up a lot of the tank, but I do really like it, and I think that they will like it. I saw some poop on there this morning. You know, I think that they're enjoying it, so I will keep it in here until I notice that it's not being used. But I wrapped moss around this and hot glued it to the plastic. You can see it from the top. I actually might put some leaf litter in here or something to cover the plastic because I'm not really a fan of how that looks. And then if you see down there, I have one of the egg cups that they kind of sit in. They're actually meant for plants, but I have one of those wrapped in some green sphagnum moss as well. This is pillow moss. I don't really know the difference, but I know they're both safe. So yeah. I also got this random leaf decor from PetSmart. Looks like they sat in that too, which is nice because I just put this in there and I haven't actually seen them in there yet. Okay guys, so I just want to show you some of my houseplants that I got in the mail the other day. If you haven't already seen the unboxing, go check out the video that I will link up in the cards and down below. There was an unboxing that I did. It was an imported order from Botanicas, and I want to give you guys an update on how those plants are doing. And I also want to repot some of them. So I'm gonna go through a little bit of my acclimation process when it comes to importing plants. And yeah, hopefully that helps some of you guys that are going through the same thing right now. Or if you're planning on importing in the future, this might be helpful as well. So right now I just have these guys in a Tupperware box with a ton of little holes poked in it for a little bit of breathing air. Just so you know, this is a little bit messy. It's not exactly how I would like it right now, but you know, this is real life. So I am also wearing white right now, so I'm probably going to get changed before I do any repotting. But I just want to show you guys an overview of how everything is doing. This pink princess is looking really great. I haven't seen any further yellowing on any of the leaves. This leaf was already a bit yellowed and it hasn't progressed anymore, so hopefully it sticks around for a little bit longer. This leaf here is also emerging. I think that just the added humidity and extra sunlight out of the package. I mean, these guys have been in the package for 3 weeks, so just being in the sunlight is really helping these guys out. But yeah, this leaf finally unfurled here. This is gonna be one of the plants that I do repot. I just like seeing the roots, and I have a lot of extra clear pots hanging around from plants that I've either traded off or just thrown out. So that guy will go into a clear pot. The begonia here is doing well. Unfortunately, we did lose a few stems actually, but they're not completely lost. They just kind of snapped off. I think they had a little bit of rot, as you can see there, but I did put them into water so that we don't lose them, and I will show you that a little bit later, but we are already getting new growth on one of these vines, so I'm not concerned. It is definitely enjoying the humidity now that it's out of the box, and it's also probably really enjoying the sun like all of the others. This guy here, I forget the name of it, but it is super duper beautiful. We do have a little bit of crisping on the edge there, if it'll focus on it. But again, not really a concern of mine at this point. These guys are going to go through a lot before they become big, beautiful plants. And we do already have new growth there. So again, I'm not concerned at all about this one. I think it will do just fine. I'm glad that we at least have one leaf to hang on to and one leaf that will give this plant a bit of energy. But yeah, this is another one I will not be repotting just because it does need quite a bit of time to just settle down. This begonia here is the Botanica's 1. I did lose a few leaves on this one, but that's to be expected. Actually, I think I only just lost the 1 leaf. But yeah, it's obviously not looking like it's in fantastic shape. But again, it spent 3 weeks in the mail, so it is looking good considering. This one will not be repotted for another 3 weeks or so, just so that it can grow a little bit and get comfy. But eventually I will be repotting these guys, and I will vlog that when I do. Lastly, we have the second plant that I want to repot, as the roots are coming out of the bottom of the pot there, so it definitely needs a slightly bigger pot. This is the Philodendron Campos Partuanum that is doing really, really well. At first glance, I thought that this plant was yellowing when I pulled it out of the package, but it's actually just a lighter shade of green at the moment, and it's definitely pretty healthy. We also have a little bit of a translucent leaf here. I'm not sure that you can tell from the footage here, but it is a little bit translucent. These guys typically don't really have any issues, even if they have translucent leaves. And the top leaf looks just fine. We're also getting new growth, so this guy's obviously doing fantastic. But yeah, this guy will get a repot into a slightly larger pot along with the pink princess, depending on those roots. I'm just sitting here in my kitchen, that's why my refrigerator's behind me. But yeah, I also want to give you guys some tips as to the actual acclimation process, so I will get into that. But first, Lumi wanted to say hi. Hi. So yeah, when I first get these guys in, I like to double check that everything is okay. I also like to rip off any leaves that might decay, because decaying matter just leads to more rotting. So if I see any leaves that are rotting, I will pull them off immediately. If there's anything that needs to be separated immediately, I do that. But I really do not like touching the roots of the plant. When they come in soil like this, I definitely want to leave them for minimum 24 hours. But if you can be patient, waiting a week is even better than 24 hours. That is if the plant isn't rapidly declining. If you find that you're getting a lot of yellow leaves, it's definitely worth it to uproot the plant and check that out, because it might be rotting in the soil. Because this one had roots just popping up everywhere, I wasn't concerned and I wanted to leave it in the soil for a bit to just chill out. Begonias are obviously a little bit extra sensitive, so I'm gonna keep these guys in their natural or original pots for as long as I can. When you take begonias out of their packaging, I suggest immediately putting them into really high humidity. You don't want it to be wet, but you do want a nice high humidity level. So the best way to do that is to spray a bit of water on the edges of the tub that you're keeping it in and keep that lid secured so that you keep the humidity nice and high. I also suggest if you can keep the leaves away from the side of the tub, that's a really great tip for any plant really, because they will eventually rot if the side of the bin has any moisture on it. So just be careful about that. But yeah, immediately I just like to keep them in the soil that they're in unless they're in moss. If they're in moss, I like to replace the moss with fresh moss and then set them down in the bin as well. If you guys have any questions about specific situations that you're having, definitely comment down below. I'm happy to help with individual, circumstances, but I obviously can't touch on all of them in this video. I like to leave them in this tub for at least a week with the lid on, letting it air out a little bit every single day. And then the second week, I actually like to turn the lid a little bit on a diagonal so that we're getting a little bit of air through the tub, but we're still keeping the majority of the humidity in. I'll still lightly spray the edges of the tub. Obviously, don't get the leaves wet, but continue to keep the environment nice and humid without keeping it totally locked in. And then slowly, as the plants become more accustomed to the new humidity level, you can keep pushing it back until these plants are ready to come out of the box. That process usually takes about 4 weeks, depending on the situation. Some of them, I'm sure this pink princess here and the Campos Partuanum would probably do just fine out in the open, but I do like to give them the best chance at success. And I don't have any reason to have them out quite yet. So yeah, we'll keep them in there with the begonias. Let me go get dressed and we will come back and repot these guys. Okay, I have my sketchy box of stuff that we're going to be repotting with. And don't ask me why, but my soil is currently in a garbage bag within a Tupperware box. So I am going to be pulling out of a garbage bag, but it's my perfectly mixed soil in there. Okay, so I have my 2 plants here. I am going to actually use most of the soil that these plants came in because I don't want to break up the root ball, and I know that this is good soil. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to keep this intact, take it out of the pot. I'm going to fill up 1 inch or 2 on the bottom of these pots. I will place it in and fill around just so that the roots are not disturbed. So let's get into that. Okay, so I'm first going to take this guy out of the pot. Actually, first I will fill this up a little bit. So that's probably enough soil there. I just like to compare and see how tall the plant is, but that should be good. Whatever comes out of here while I'm pulling it out, I'll just put back into the pot. The root system definitely looks established. It is a little bit smaller though, so I'm gonna keep it in this smaller pot. It'll be just fine in here in a chunky soil mixture. I'm so sad. I have gloves, but I already started digging my hands in the dirt, so I may as well continue, but that sucks. I literally had gloves to prevent this. When I'm repotting, I'm also just making sure that I'm not planting it too deep in there, because I don't want any of the stems to be too far down into the pot. We also want to compress the soil a little bit because when water goes through it, it's going to fill in those air gaps and we're gonna get a little bit of soil loss. So that looks good to me. I think this guy will be happy in here and it will allow for lots of root growth before we have to repot this. I'm really hopeful that I won't have to repot this until at least next summer or next spring. But yeah, that should be good. Yeah, we'll water this just lightly before I put it away. And then the only other plants I need to repot is this Philodendron Campos Partuanum. So we'll do the same thing. I'll fill this up a little bit and then we'll slowly transfer this over. All right. This plant definitely has a more established root system. As you can see, it's coming out of the bottom of the pot. yeah, look at those roots. There's a lot going on there, but I still don't want to break this up, so I will just put it directly in the pot and we'll fill around it. All right, guys, that looks good to me. Again, we'll also lightly water this one. It was slightly more dry, so I'm going to water it a little bit more thoroughly, but that looks a lot better for this guy now. All right, so I'm just going to use a glass of water to lightly water them. If you haven't already noticed, I love these clear pots. If you haven't been here long, a lot of my care videos talk about why I love these clear pots so much. One of those reasons is because you can see if the soil is being saturated, and obviously it's not being super saturated, but I don't want to overdo it. So I'm going to just leave it as is, and then when it dries out completely, I will resaturate the soil fully. All right, so now that these guys are watered, I'm gonna put them right back into the box where they belong and where they will belong for the next few weeks. But yeah, that's about it for that. So I'm just gonna take a few little cuttings for a tray that I'm doing. I'll pack those up, and then later on in this video, you will also see what I get in return for the tray. Guys, I just woke up, but I do want to show you what I traded for last night. It's the next day, and I was able to set up one of their enclosures, so let me go ahead and show you guys what's going on. All right, so I traded for some isopods. These guys here are dairy cow isopods, and I'll try to see if I can show you. They were hanging out here before. This is what they look like here. And if you don't know what isopods do, they are a cleanup crew. So they eat decaying matter. They're really, really cool though, and they come in a ton of different varieties and colorations. So yeah, that is that. Obviously, this is not going to be sufficient full time for them, but they're currently living in this container. This container though is pretty much set up. I do need to finish hot gluing the edges here because I've just hot glued the corners because I was about to run out. These are my zebra isopods, and they definitely have a more, you know, polished setup here. I do want to get some more leaf litter because they do feed on that. Let me see if I can show you some of them. Yeah, so these are the zebra isopods. They are a little bit less active right now, just hanging out, probably eating on here, but they are super cool too. This cork is really great for finding hiding places for them, but we've got lots of little babies in there. Got some more on this piece too. And then, yeah, I've just provided them with a more dry side and then some sphagnum moss on this side if they need the moisture. But yeah, that's basically it. And then obviously you can see I do have screen for ventilation, so that's that. Well guys, I think this is where I'm going to end today's vlog. Thank you so much for watching. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, definitely do so by clicking that button down below. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and don't forget that I have memberships. But yeah, that's going to be all. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys!